Yo, what's up YouTube? 21 back with another video. This time we're going to be talking about investments before the season. I'm going to give you some guys that you can, put some stubs in and hopefully get rewarded for it. What I'm talking about is players getting upgraded. Don't mind my raspy voice. Had a little incident. Had to go to the hospital, but we're all good. Also, I just want to preface, invest at your own risk. I don't work for SDS. I don't know who's going to get upgraded. These are just my opinions, my thoughts. So I don't want to hear in the comments, hey man, I invested 3 million stubs in Yoan Moncada and he went bronze. That's not on me. All right. So just be careful with your investments. Be smart with them. Invest what you can invest. Do not invest all your stubs. Like I said, just do what you can and hopefully it's like gambling. Hopefully it works out for you. SDS does upgrades and they're going to be doing them weekly on real life players, so the live series cards. So based on how they play in real life, they could get upgrades, and there's tier jumps sometimes. Sometimes a card will go from silver to gold, sometimes a card will go from gold to diamond, and that's where you can make a lot of stubs if you can figure out which player they're going to upgrade. And we can do that by using stats and seeing what attributes need to be improved upon for that player to get that bump. So with that being said, we're going to get into it. I'm going to break down what attributes need to be upgraded for the player to jump a tier. All right, so here we are. Let's make some stubs. There's some key points here real quick I want to go over. You're going to want to invest early to maximize your return. If you get in too late, you're not going to get nearly as much return on your stubs. So if you see a player doing really well and they're close to jumping that tier, jump on it, buy a lot of them. Hopefully the player gets upgraded. You maximize your return. If everybody's on the same wagon and they see that, for instance, Juan Soto is going off, he's going to become a diamond soon, you're not going to make that many stubs on him because everybody's going to be investing. You probably won't even make 500 stubs per card. So you want to get in early. It's a big deal. When you're investing, you want to plan on receiving your quick sell value if the player gets upgraded. And what that means is, if you quick sell a gold, you get 1K. If you quick sell a diamond, you get 5K. These cards that are jumping tiers, they're not going to go way above the 5K or the 1K for gold, 5K for diamond. They're not going to go way above that. So what you're going to plan on is to buy these cards with the intent of selling them at quick sell value. So you buy a gold for 2,500, you're planning on selling them for 5K. That's a 2,500 stub return. So you buy a silver, that's about 300 stubs, you sell them for 1K, you made 700 on that card. Those cards are not going to go much higher than their quick sell value, so there's going to be so many of those out there. So just keep that in mind. Quick sell value. If you want to do some investments on your own, you can always keep an eye on real life baseball. Checking out box scores, using a site like Fangraphs, which I'll be using, and just being in the know to know which players are doing well. That's a great way to get in investments. Know when to get out. So a lot of people don't know when to get out. And what that means is they'll start loading up on a player and he doesn't play well. He doesn't live up to expectations, but they're still holding on to him, hoping that he will. Just know when to get out. If you can make your stubs back, sometimes it's okay to just sell it off and take a small loss rather than take a huge loss later down the line because you held on to the player for too long. Players will gain value even if they don't jump tiers. It's very important. With a lot of hype, some YouTubers might put out certain cards that might be, targets. Their prices are going to rise. So that's a good way to get out and still make a little bit of stubs if you're not sure that player is going to get upgraded. So make sure you keep an eye on that too. It's just keeping an eye on real life players and keeping an eye on the market. So we're going to get into the players now and who I think are going to get upgraded. So right here we have Yoan Moncada, and you'll notice I'll have stats above. What those stats are generally are their second half stats of last year. So a lot of these players were very hot towards the end of the year last year, so that's going to give them momentum going into this year. Moncada's right there. He needs to improve on his K percentage. Strikes out a lot. That'll raise his vision. That should raise his attributes a little bit more. His power versus lefties and his contact versus lefties. Those two are going to be huge. If he can hit against lefties well, whether it be power or contact, and get a couple points, all he needs is 2 points to make a gold. He's definitely a worthy contestant to go gold. One of my favorite ones right now. So I would have a lot of stock in Yoan Moncada before the season starts. It's important to note that he is out. We're assuming because of COVID, he could be, there at the very start of the season, or he might miss a couple games in the beginning, but he needs to come back, negative, and then he'll be able to play. So just something to keep an eye on. Here we have Mike Soraka of the Braves. He had a really good second half. Look at that, 13-4, a 2.68 ERA. The problem with him, he doesn't strike out a lot of people. So if he could find out a way to start striking out people this season early on, gets hot, his K per nines and his hit per nines go up, he can easily get those 2 points to become a gold. Here we have Miguel Andujar. So Miguel missed the whole season last year with an injury, but he's looking really good in spring training right now, or summer camp. I'm sorry. He's looking really good in summer camp. What he would need to improve is his contact versus lefties, his power versus righties, and power versus lefties, which he can easily do. If you've been watching him, you've been noticing that his power is definitely there. He took Garrett Cole deep, Oppo, which is incredible. So if Miguel can hit like we know he can hit, he can be a gold. His fielding is very, very bad in this game. It's about 33, I think it is. So if he can show that if he can move positions, maybe to first base where you don't need as much fielding, he might receive that bump too. So Miguel Andujar is kind of like a dark horse for me because they could switch positions, which could help him because you don't need an arm at first base, right? Your fielding can be okay and it'll bump you up a little bit. If he plays first base and plays it well, he could receive that fielding upgrade, and there you have it. We'll have a gold. Here we have Jonathan VR. This guy went absolute bananas in the second half last year with the Orioles. Look at that, 14 home runs, 38 RBI. He has a 371 batting average in balls in play, 294 average. He had a 2.7 WAR in the second half. It's pretty damn good. What attributes he would need to improve to receive an upgrade are his fielding and his hitting stats: contact left, power right. I could see VR playing really well in Miami, and I could see him getting those hitting stats up. Depending on what position they put him at, he can get a fielding boost. It just depends on where he plays. He can play pretty much anywhere. So depends on where he plays, depends on how he does with fielding. But I like Jonathan VR a lot this year. All right, here we have Herman Marquez. He was 12-5 in the second half of this season. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. This is his full season. He had a great first half. He had a terrible second half. Marquez is kind of hard because he plays at Coors Field, right? So he's going to give up a lot of home runs. He's going to give up a lot of hits. So it's hard to upgrade Rockies pitchers, but he's been stellar. He's been an ace of their staff. He's been very, very good. If he can figure out how to lower those home runs per nine and how to lower those hits per nine at home, I think he's a candidate to go gold. All right, here we have Byron Buxton. So Byron Buxton didn't have a good second half of the season last year. He had a 263 average, 295 on base, and 491 slug. His defense and his speed are elite, right? We already know that. He's a 79 overall. So if Buxton can figure out how to hit, even just a little bit, just go on a tear, hit about 300, 340, a couple bombs in that first week, he could get an upgrade to gold very easily. He just needs to figure out his hitting. All right, now we're gonna get into the golds. Right here we have Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant had a really good second half of the season last year. He batted 275, hit 15 home runs, 36 RBI. His K percentage was up a lot. He could figure out how to not strike out. That would help his vision. His fielding was not very good last year, and I think we can attribute that to all the positions he played. Madden had him playing all over the place. So if the new coach decides just to keep him at one position, his fielding can go up. And then if he improves versus righties, he's only 1 point away from being a diamond. So if he's hitting righties well out the gate, that's the easiest path for him to become a diamond. So keep an eye out for Chris Bryant versus righties. If he murders them in the first week, we could have a diamond Bryant. All right, we got a 2-for-1 here. A couple Indians pitchers, nice young studs, very good players. Clevenger had a monster second half, went 12-2, 2.17 ERA, 11.5 K per nine. This dude is the next big thing, I'm assuming, coming out of Cleveland. And then you got Bieber, who was 8-5, no slouch. He had 10 Ks per nine with a 3.03 ERA. These two guys are going to be studs for that Indian team. They're going to be 1-2 for years to come if they lock them up. Both, they need hit per nine and K per nine to go up just a tad for them to get that 2 points overall. Bieber was an all-star, so that might help his case a little bit. And for Sunshine, Clevenger, he's just got to get his walks down a little bit. So, just very typical with all pitchers. Hits per nine, Ks per nine are going to boost they're going to boost their overalls. I think walks per nine will help a little bit as well. So for Clevenger, if he's walking less people, he's about 2 walks per 9 inning. If he can get down to 1, cut in half, that should help out his overall. So just keep an eye on these two guys. Load up if you can. One of the two will eventually become a diamond, I'm assuming. There's Liam Hendricks from the Oakland A's. I'm calling him this year's Kirby Yates. Kirby Yates, if you remember last year, was just absolutely dominant. It was just a matter of when SDS was going to decide to give him the diamond. With Hendricks, same thing. Look at this second half. In 38 innings pitched, he had a 15.5 K per nine. That's insane. Striking out 15 per nine with a 2.35 ERA. He had a 2.2 WAR. I mean, for a reliever, that's pretty good. So what he needs to just improve to become a diamond is his hits per nine and his walks per nine. That's in-game stats. If you look at his walks per nine and the stats I have right here, it's not even at a 1. So I'm thinking that he gets the biggest bump. I'm thinking Hendricks is the first reliever / closer is going to be diamond this year. And here we have Juan Soto. Everybody knows Juan Soto deserves a diamond, right? He's one of the best young players in the league. He's right up there with Acuna. Acuna is a little bit better because of his defense and his arm. If Juan Soto improves his defense this year and shows it and improves his arm, it could happen without the fielding attributes. If he can show that he can hit lefties for power and for contact, that alone will put him in the diamond territory. If he fields really well, he can get a fielding upgrade. So he's well on his way to becoming a diamond, whether it be for his hitting or improvement in his fielding and throwing. Here we have Giancarlo Stanton. A lot of you know he was injured last year. A lot of talk about Stanton being made of glass, but I think he'll bounce back this year. And honestly, if you just see my notes there, all he needs is contact versus right to make a diamond. He increased that 15 to 10 to 15 points. He'll be an 85 overall. It's all he really needs. His power's there. His contact versus lefty's there. He just needs that contact versus righty to come up just a tad, and he'll be an 85 overall. Here we have Zack Greinke. He was 9-2 in the second half of this season with a 2.98 ERA. His K per nine aren't there. His walks are a little high considering the type of pitcher he is. His home run per nine in game is bad, but in real life, according to stats, 0.86 for the second half of the season. So if they decide if Zach pitches really well, which he can, I mean, with Garrett Cole being gone, he's going to be relied upon. His hits per nine, his K per nine, if he can improve those just a tad, and his home run per nine can be adjusted if he's not giving up home runs, because he didn't for the whole second half of the season. He was giving up less than 1 per 9 innings. He could see increase to diamond. He has been a diamond last year. He has been diamond in the past. So there's no reason why he shouldn't jump to diamond this year. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope that you found it helpful in terms of how I look at investing. And I hope some of these players you're able to invest in and are able to make you some stubs. If you like the video, Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time.